Islam, Islam, Islam. Praise Allah, honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to all Moorish Americans here, there, everywhere, past, present, and future leaders of the Moorish Scientific of America. Honors to the mothers and fathers who are the harbingers of modern day Moorish Americans. Honors to all those who have desire for the truth and the divine truth, and all those who desire to find a temple to bear their condition. That way you can learn how to love instead of hate, bear their condition, and wanting for their brother and sister as they want for themselves. None of this backbiting. And this is why Europeans need to go home. Islam family, I shall open us up with the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day. His holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. We're going to start the show off today with things that really matter for the ears to hear. To all adults, we're all children at heart. We're all Moorish children. The ones who have been classified as Negro, Black, Colored, Latino, Chicano, Hispanic. All those so-called people who are albinos, all those so-called black people, all those so-called Puerto Ricans, Asians, all the islanders. Honors to you all within the sound of my voice. Honors to the love we have for each other. And honors to those who want the truth and want their condition to be better. As I always say, that the brothers and sisters have to want the information to bear their condition, but they must start with self. And this is why I have the title today, Europeans Must Go Home. Well, if anybody look at their history, there's nothing too pleasant about it. From Alexander the Great, so-called great, all the way to Caesar, all the way to the seat of Edom, who was the father of Esau, who is definitely modern day European, so-called white people. 90% of the Europeans are recognized as white people because this is the title they give upon themselves. If you ever notice, whenever time I say in my channel, prior to channels or prior to me speaking live, I always say that they do not fit the description of white, because white means purity. Let's take a little zoom in history called the Puritans. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why Moorish Americans as a whole don't call Europeans white. But we notice that everybody else other than the Nation of Islam, the 5%ers, you know what I'm saying, the Black Peace Stone Nation, so-called, and everybody else, call them white. But we all know that's a misnomer. And we fail to understand why we call them that. But we always understood that every time they get into power, those colonists, they want to switch up everything because they got the okay from the Rothschild Rockefellers to bring an educational system that serves the common people no purpose. The common people don't have common sense, at least 80 to 90% depend on where you're at and who you're speaking with. Majority of the other people who are Moorish American know that you're not going to tell me this lie because I'm not going to accept it. That's how Moorish Americans are. And there's nothing that nobody can do to change that. You can pull a gun to our head or whatever. You can sit here, go back and forth with us. The Hebrew Israelites can go back and forth with us. Surah Seti and all them ones. You know what I'm saying? Can go back and forth with us. But the only people who are not going to go back and forth with us, depending on the brother, is there going to be some brothers from the Nation of Islam going to say, well, brother, you're right. And they're not going to go back and forth. They'll try us. But they're not going to succeed. The modern day Black Panthers going to go back and forth with us, but they understand the condition. They understand law to a certain degree. Other Islamic organizations are against Moorish Americans because we don't follow the era form of Islam that does not belong to us. We're not going to catch lessons from a foreigner who's going to teach us about Islamism and teach us about culture when it already started with us from the beginning. Islam means peace. There's no compulsion in Islam. So if there's compulsion in Islam, then explain why there's a very high divorce rate in Islam versus the so-called Muslim wives who are divorced and they don't desire to get married again. I talk to them. I know this. I don't just, always remember, family, when I speak, I don't speak on what I think perhaps is. I speak on what I know. I speak to people, whether I went to college and spoke to the people. There's a lot of people who don't like the form of Islam because the sisters get mistreated by their husbands, and their husbands are following that form of European psychology, you know what I'm saying, of, you know, male domination, indoctrination, husband's being defiant. He's not listening to his wife. Whatever he say goes. Male chauvinism. You do as I tell you to do, and I'm going to beat you with the stick or whatever. And anybody who knows Quran cannot sit here and recite Quran and believe or have faith in Quran when it teaches that it's okay for a husband to beat his wife with a stick or tap her with a stick. I thought the Holy Quran of Mecca or the Hadith teaches us to love our wife. To love our wife as we love ourselves. If our wife is distressed, we must listen to her and not interrupt her while she speaks. Because there's so much male domination going on right now. Even the sister is distressed to the point that she don't even want to be married no more. She will cause a divorce because she is not being heard. What is going on in her mind and the distress that she's going through, the husband doesn't even want to listen. Oh, you do as I tell you to do. You walk 5, 6, 7 steps behind me. I said this in my last show. But the question is, how many people are listening and paying attention? How many people are reading the Holy Quran of Mecca where it says in Al-Nisa 3 verse 43 that the husband's supposed to protect his wife? The word protection, as follows, is the major ingredient to having a successful marriage. whether it be that Arab form of Islam or not. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there, whether they're from Pakistan. I've talked to them personally, and they agree with me. But the only problem is that they're not agreeing with the Quran, but they're treating their wife justly. I know some brothers. I met some brothers. The other brothers from different parts of the world, they treat their wife kindly. They make sure that she is safe. They don't believe what that propaganda that's being taught in the Al-Quran, or should I say the Quran of Mecca, or the Holy Quran, depending on which version you prefer to read. As I'm flipping the pages in the dictionary right now, I'm going to explain to you and read out the definition thoroughly to the fullest from beginning to end of the word protection. It says here, protection. Protection. Now, protecting or being protected. The guard carried a club for protection. 2. A person or thing that protects. Being careful is your best protection against accidents. Protective. Adjective. That protects or helps to protect. That is meant to protect manufacturers from competing with cheaper products. Okay. Well, protect is to defend against harm or danger. So, if the Holy Quran of Mecca teaches us that, then why is it the husband must beat his wife? It says it right here, protection. Protecting or being protected. A person or thing protects. Being careful against accidents. So that means that the brother, the husband, must be very careful on what he say to his wife. Because your brother man Moore's life is going to tell you the truth. I have nothing against marriage. I have nothing against a husband taking upon himself a wife, because you have to obey the ordinance of Allah. This is the duty of a husband. Divine Instruction from the Holy Prophet. Chapter 22. Let me hold on. Let me get that information right quick. The Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, by the guidance of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Know thyself in Allah. The genealogy of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Africa, and the land of Egypt. This is it right here, family. I'm going to it. I'm going to it. This is it right here. Boom. That's where I'm reading from. That is where I'm reading from, family. It's the truth. Because the only way a husband is going to get a wife, he has to be right with himself and be honest with himself, so that way his wife can practice the same thing and be right with herself and practice truth. It's not just one way. It goes more than one way. All right, divine instruction from the Holy Prophet, chapter 22. Holy instruction from the Holy Prophet, duty of a husband. Instruction 1. Take upon thyself a wife and obey the orders of Allah. Take upon thyself a wife and become a faithful member of society. Instruction 2. But examine with care and fix not suddenly on thy present choice depends on thy future happiness. There we go. Right there. I am going to go on over where it says in instruction 5, O cherish her as a blessing sent thee from heaven. Let the kindness of the behavior endear thee to her heart. Instruction 6, she is the mistress of thy house. Treat her therefore with respect, and thy servants may obey her. I'm going to stop and stick a pin right there. The servants may obey her. The servants that they're referring to is the children. Right? I'm going to go over to the front of the cover. Now it says right here, divine instruction from the Holy Prophet, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The genealogy of Jesus with 18 years of advanced life works and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good. Peace and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones. They may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons, you can set your household in order. And your children will learn to love instead of hate. So basically, it says right here in divine instruction from the Holy Prophet, duty of a husband. It says, she is the mistress of thy house. Treat her therefore with respect, and thy servants may obey her. I just made a connection right there. Instruction 10. Oppose not inclination without cause. She is a partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. 8. Reprove her faults with gentleness. Exact not her obedience with rigor. Instruction 9. Trust thy secrets in her breasts. Her counsels are sincere. Thou shalt not be deceived. Instruction 10. Be faithful to her bed. She is the mother of thy children. So, this is what we practice here in Moorish Science. So all this extra stuff that these ones are talking about, that the hadith say this and thus and so and thus and so, but fail to understand that the woman is the wife and she's the mistress of the household. She's the one who makes law in conjunction with her husband. But yet and still, if you look at the European way of life, there's so much hidden agenda going on with a European way of life, and your wife must walk 6 steps behind you, and you know, treat her unkindly and talk down to her and disrespect her. This is the reason why Europeans must go home. And I'm not saying that to be hateful, but I'm saying it because it's facts. 90% of your Europeans or so-called white folks are just straight evil. And why do you may ask? Look at the condition they caused upon the indigenous people. Look at the land they took from the indigenous people. Look at how they treat people who look just like them, even though they don't speak the same language. Look at the injustice they put upon their own people and treat their own wife like peasants, I should say, and treat your children like orphanage children. But they put upon a facade in Hollywood like they're living a good lifestyle, they all happy, they got money, but yet and still, money doesn't make you happy. Possessing all the worldly things doesn't make you happy. It just brings temporary joy, but you're hoarding a lot of things that serves you no purpose. So when you steal all this gold that belongs to the indigenous people of the land, and the land means more, then you explain to me how just is the European or the so-called white man. You tell me how is just the European educational system in the public and private school is just. Explain to me the condition that they allow police officers to mistreat the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors and lock them up and create finance and revenue off of them every time they lock up and make a person inmate, whether they're guilty or not. Explain why you have a Second Continental Congress and yet and still they don't even enforce law. They practice off a maritime law that they just make up stuff as you go. CVC codes and penal codes are not law, family, and that's what they fail to tell you. That's what they don't tell you. Oh, you must drive with a license. Oh, you must have a license to do this and do that. Well, that's their job, is to keep track of you and keep tabs on you, where you go, who you work for, who you have your contract with, so that way they can embezzle more cash. You want to buy a new car? Well, you just sign over an agreement to make a monthly payment because the car is already paid for when you purchase it. When you sign on a dotted line, you're just handing them a gift. All they want to do is make more money. The rich just get richer and the poor just take less. Yet and still they create a system where they can abduct your child and take them away from the mother and father who help, the father who is the helper, giver of life, and mom who is a giver of life. They take their rights from the mother and father, whether they be so-called white people, so-called black people, so-called Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, Asiatics. The list just goes on and on and on. And you wonder why so many children are just basically off their rockers and they end up in the Salem asylum, because they have to provide a case number to abstract finances from your fiduciary, so that way they can become rich or die trying. But yet and still, people don't understand why they have these systems already made up. When you sign that birth certificate, you sign the child over to the state. They become state property. What do? You already signed up with the District of Columbia. You came over here from another nation. You came from India. You came from Africa. You came from Europe. You came from different parts of Asia, and then you sign over. You give up your rights as a national citizen to become a second-class citizen. And this is where they have the jurisdiction and the authority over you, but you still don't see the light. Having a green card does not make you an American citizen. Having your nationality stripped from you does not make you an American citizen. Or being contracted over under the District of Columbia does not make you an American citizen. It's all fraud. And you guys just still keep going on and on and on. You want to collect finances for taking care of a person who is confined or something, and they have some would have ability to walk as well. I seen this with my own eyes with family. This person my family member had surveillance cameras all through the house. The person was being treated fairly and everything. And guess what? They were tired of them making extra money off of this person, so they develop a profile of fake charges against them, against penalty of perjury, against their own will, and there's nothing they can say about it. So what does that tell you? I don't care what nation you're from and what nation you represent, but your nationality is now being recognized here in this country of the United States Corporation. The United States of America has nothing to do with the calamities of the people. It's the people who lose touch with law and don't understand law to be able to protect themselves on the calamities of the District of Columbia, which is a democracy that brings falsehood and rich and promises and all this other stuff. Then all of a sudden they can just take it away from you. Oh, they can't do it. Well, they just did it. You can see it through the movies. Salem Silence. There's a movie that came out. I just saw it. About the Wineville murders over here in San Bernardino County. This guy was abducting children and killing them. That's what he was doing. And guess what? He happened to be European. So-called white man. But yet still you want to show plagiarism and all Roman romance and all this other stuff. Let the Romans do what the Romans do. Let the Moors do what the Moors do. But the problem is you keep slandering your people who call yourself white, keep slandering the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors and calling them black, but keep saying that they're black and they're Negro, they're colored, they're Afro-American, and bringing all this false accusation against the people, divide their families, because that's what happened with Brother Malcolm X's family, or should I say El Haj Malik El Shabazz, born Malcolm Little in Omaha, Nebraska. The Ku Klux Klan came over here to terrorize the Garveyites who were willing to proclaim their nationality. Earl Little happened to be his father. Ella Collins happened to be his sister from another marriage. But every time these Europeans keep bringing out new stuff, it doesn't make sense. You hear how they speak, but they don't say nothing right. They keep pronouncing their words. They're not articulate. And I keep saying it every time, every chance they get. Look, there's only 94, 95% of the Europeans who are just straight pure evil. The rest of them, can't stand their own people. Just like so-called black people can't stand their own people. Just like certain Mexicans can't stand their own people. Just like certain Puerto Ricans or people from Guam or the same nations can't stand their own people. What, you think they just do it because they get along? Because they're from the same nation? Do you know how many pedophiles are in existence that are not even on the record? I don't think y'all know. I don't think nobody pays attention. I don't think nobody cares. They just say, we're going to get along because we fit along. But yet and still, my people will perish for a lack of knowledge. They don't know who they are. And I'm going to say it once, let's say on my previous show, like I said last show of yesterday. Dr. King said my people will perish. My people are exiled in their own land. My people. So what people is he talking about? The so-called Negro, blacks, and coloreds? That's what he's talking about. We're exiled in our own nation. George Washington said it best. He said it himself. You can't make peace with someone who is evil. You can't make peace. You can't do it, family. But I need the brothers and sisters out there to start doing some thinking, because the simple fact that you have to free yourself from the calamities. You got to do it. Be like Nike and just do it. That's all I say. There's nothing else that you can do to try to change someone's condition, but yet still you don't even know who you are yourself. You say you love what you got You possess things that are not yours. You covet what is not yours, but you want to dictate to the people in the church about the Ten Commandments, but you already took the land from the indigenous people. So how are you practicing something righteousness if you call yourself white and Christian? But yet still you want to dictate to the people about the Bible, but you want to say obey your slave master. Well, we already know who the slave master is, because we already know the word slave came from. It means Slavic. When the brothers and sisters who are so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, Chicano, Latino, Hispanic are going to wake up and understand that you don't matter. The only thing that matters is you punching in on that clock to the corporation, to the slaveholder, and you're making him rich while you suffer and die. But yet and still, honor to those, you know what I mean, who have a desire for the truth. I can't make it up, family. We got to call the truth what it is. We got to tell it like it is. We can't do nothing else but to tell the truth. But the question is, how many people are going to want to tell the truth? That's the question. That's what we want to do. We want to change our condition. We want to change how we think. And every time somebody wants to stand up and fight against the European powers that be, who happen to be the modern day slaveholders, the Rothschild Rockefellers, who promote all these pharmaceutical companies and all this indoctrination about medicine, all this other stuff, and tell you there's no cure for epilepsy, they're lying to you. I see you got somebody in the chat. Peace and blessings, Ute Hendricks. You say, how are you? Praise Allah, I'm all is well. You say, I pray that all is well with you, and praise Allah. I see that you got the hand thing going on there with this funny looking blue guy with, I don't know. I don't even keep track of none of that stuff, but I need y'all to really watch this. We are going to go there. White is the definition. That's what we're going to discuss today, family. White, adjective, of color of pure snow or milk. White, pure, innocent, spotless. Okay, that's the situation right there. That's what the definition says. Pure or innocent. So the so-called white people call themselves white. So how are they appearing innocent when they're doing all this causing calamities and hardship on people? Please explain that. I mean, there's things that, you know, you can't change a leopard's skin to a giraffe skin. You can't do it. Even though they enforce that, they make things just sound so odd. Oh, it's raining cats and dogs. Really? Here we go again. I never understood. I need y'all to really start doing some thinking and crack open a dictionary and read. Find the oldest dictionary you can and start looking up words because they're telling you in front of your face. When my brothers and sisters gonna understand that this condition I'm gonna read y'all the definition of the word black. Black, adjective, describe, opposite of white or the color of, coal or pitch. Although we speak of black as a color, it is really the absence of all color, a surface of black only when it absorbs light rays that make color and reflects none back, I should say. Black without any light and moonless night, having to do with belonging to, oh boy, here they go, to the group of people, Africa or from Africa, whose members generally have dark skin and black hair, Negro. Full of sorrow, suffering, sad, unhappy, gloomy, evil, wicked. Whoa, hold on, stop right there, put a pin right there, yo. I never knew Asiatics have a sullen state of being. Angry, evil, wicked, unhappy, full of sorrow, of suffering, sad, unhappy. Last I checked, this fits the description of Europeans. And the only reason why they're objecting this to the so-called Negro blacks and colors, because they put them in a condition that they can't get themselves out of. And this is the reason why the Europeans must go home, because they enforce a condition that they're familiar with of being in the dark ages and have no knowledge of education or no knowledge of self, but yet and still they commit bestiality, homosexuality, pedophilia, and all these things that are just straight lewdness. You look in the Moorish culture, that is something that we're not. But yet and still, this is how they depict us here in the definition. So black is not nothing positive. So if you want to keep calling yourself black, well, comfort, you're going to cause a lot of conflict and confrontation upon yourself. And you don't even see it. And you don't even understand it. You don't. And you can care less. Because whatever you're being dictated to, whatever you're being indoctrinated to, that's the conditions you accept, and it's all your fault. So the Negro, black, and colored is your fault. It's your problem. It never said that black is a nationality, or they can sit here and put death upon us. But again, in the book of Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 and 2 says that Abraham was talking to Allah, where he says, I have made you a great nation. Whoever will bless you, I will bless them. Whoever will curse you, I shall curse them. So who was the one who was causing all these calamities and cursing the Asiatic so-called Negro blacks and coloreds? The Europeans, the so-called white people. That's who's doing it. And y'all don't even see it. But you can sit here and say you white all you want, because guess what? Your white privilege has already been revoked. So your ancestors who are colonists who passed down that evil to you, and you're marrying into, amalgamating into the families of the Asiatics, you shall suffer the calamities on your way back home to Europe. Because you cannot be white and be an American. Matter of fact, you're not even white. You're not even innocent. Because you're promoting all this evil and all this hate and wickedness. The word black in a dictionary etymology means pale. So you're the only pale people that I know of. But at least there's 9% of the Europeans who are just. And I'm going to call the facts what it is. And this is why Europeans must go home. And this is the reason why we have this definition here called demigod. Demigod, now in Greek and Roman myths, a being who is part God and part human. That's what they think they are. They're God. And then they got all this power. They're from Satan. They're the seed of Esau. And the truth is not in them. You receive all these blessings from the 501c3, but yet still you promote all this evil. You live a good, lavish lifestyle, but you still fail to be pure in heart. You don't want to do right by people, but you still want to treat the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors like slaves. You get all these penal codes for all these prisons and jails to lock up people to punish them, especially the Asiatic people, because you don't want us to reproduce ourselves. So now you definitely want to be the Geppetto while we be the Pinocchio. But yet still you don't see it, nor you understand. You don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. But there's already pictures of y'all lynching and smiling and got that evil looking grin upon your face of lynching so-called Negro, blacks, and colors. Y'all been doing that since the 1920s, going to the 1930s, 1940s. Lynching. But y'all want to justify why y'all lynched. This is why you have to go back home. You're going to have to take your pedophilia and your homosexuality, your Hollywood way of thinking, and your sexual orgies, and come in all this fornication, and come in all this adultery, and getting our people drunk on carnal things because we didn't be able to provide for our families, and then smuggle the drugs into our communities so that way we can be separated, so we can go up against our wife, so that way we can get locked up. So you drop the bait, so that way we can catch the bait like a worm on a hook. Then once you baited us and you grabbed us and you held us captive. So now we're prisoners of war, and now we're MIA, we're missing in action. So now wifey and children don't know who we are. So now forced in a situation where mother has to be a single mother because you control the economic system through the Rothschild, Rockefellers, and the synagogues of Satan. Through the Masonic order and the Eastern Stars. That's what y'all do. That's what y'all known for. You roam to and fro the earth seeking whom you may devour. I can't make it up. I really honestly can't make it up because it's the truth. Shall I go there? Oh yes, I'll go there. But y'all don't see what's going on. Oral Statement 144. Quotes of the Prophet, Moorish Scientific of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder, Oral Statements of the Prophet. 142 says the Holy Prophet said, Moors, look your best. "145 says the Prophet said, imitate I the Prophet, and he said, Moorish leaders, live a life of love so that way Islam." 145 says, Holy Prophet said, imitate I the Prophet, and he said, Moorish leaders, live a life of love so that way you will be loved as I the Prophet is loved. "146 says the Holy Prophet said, at the end of time, those that will be in the apparatus will be able to look down on earth and see people that you know fleeing for their life. Well, that's already going to happen. This is something I find very interesting. And this is what the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali did. He said in the 1920s, he said the Holy Prophet told the Moors, in 2 weeks I'm going down to the south, and when I get there, the Ku Klux Klan is going to stop me. At first, it's going to look like they are against me. Then they're going to lead me where I am going. The Holy Prophet made the trip, and things happened the way that he said that they would happen. So the Ku Klux Klan, you already know who the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is. So you already know when you come see Moorish Americans and you got your Moorish, or shall I say your Masonic fezzes on your head, you already know what to do. The Holy Prophet 153 says, the Holy Prophet said, don't throw away your Bibles, because I'm going to use them to condemn the government. "154 says the Holy Prophet said, this is the uniting of Asia. The Moorish Science Temple of America is going to unite the whole of Asia. "141 says the Holy Prophet said, one day some of you Moors are going to be walking around with skippers. Those are maggots falling out of you, praying to die, and you won't be able to die. That's because some of you Moors be eating all that swine. 157, the Holy Prophet said, I am a general as well as a prophet. I was Muhammad. Muhammad defeated the Roman Empire. When I conquered Rome, we went in with the sword. I was there. You could hear the sword swinging. I cut the head of Rome off, pulled down the flags, sent letters to the other European governments, and asked them, was I right? They said, yes, Muhammad, you are right. Just let us have a place to live. The Holy Prophet said, I went into Rome with 72,000 men. When I ran out of men, I reached down and picked up a handful of sand and I threw it up in the air. And when it came down, there were soldiers seated on camels. Yep, y'all need to get it right. I'm reading this oral statement because this is important. Y'all need to get it right. You got to. And this is why Europeans need to go back home, because they're giving us a lot of problems. This is my favorite one. 182 says, the Holy Prophet told the brothers to use kind words toward your wife. It didn't say anything about being disrespectful. See, there's a difference between a Muslim and a Muslim. Muslims have law. And this is something that we must follow. The Prophet said, in 185, he said, the Prophet said, I'm going to make the European enforce my law. This is something for everybody, all these so-called Negro blacks and colors to follow. Holy Prophet 198, the Holy Prophet said, if I were you, I would get ready before you were made to do so.
Well, just
It's all about perception, family. And right now, you guys need to get this information. It's very important, it's very valid. There's certain things that I can sit here and tell you until you decide that you're blue in the face. Well, as I'm going to proceed to reading, because my time is almost up here. The Holy Prophet said, the food here is just European poison. Another one that says here about 205. Holy Prophet said, if you have a wife and she does not belong to a temple, instead of giving her one apple, give her two. Under those circumstances, be twice as nice to her. That's what you should do. Allah, the Father, universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through the Holy Prophet Drew Ali. Islam, peace and blessings.